Year 3 as a bounty hunter. I finally grabbed the critical evidence against the crime syndicate, but it puts a massive target on my back. The whole city is hunting me down.
Following our escape plan, I duck into an abandoned building and immediately dial my captain, who also happens to be my girlfriend. Nguyen, I made it to the extraction point. Where is the chopper? Bullets graze right past my ear, the wind howling like a blade. On the other end, her voice sounds a little awkward. Hakwang, I am up in the mountains doing a survey with Badat. The local kids are waiting for me.
Their future is way more important. Kai Badat's voice echoes faintly in the background. All this fighting and taking people out is just disgusting.
Our world is built on love, he says. Before he even finishes that sentence, a bullet rips right through my chest.
I use every ounce of strength I have left to scream out for Nguyen to save me. But my only answer is a blind falcon flying into the dark night. In those final moments, as my vision fades black, I still cannot understand how the escape plan Liu Yan and I carefully mapped out ended up exactly like this.
But get this, when I open my eyes again, I am right back to yesterday, the exact day I snagged that criminal evidence. I shoot up in bed, coughing uncontrollably, while that one line keeps echoing in my head. Their future is way more important. Liu Nguyen, my captain, my partner, the only person I trusted enough to hand over my life to in the middle of a war zone. Yet somehow, a sudden freezing chill runs straight down my spine. I completely ignore the sharp phantom pain in my chest.
Jump out of bed and sprint straight to the base armory. I grab the exact handgun I used for my escape last time, expertly stripping it down to check.
Sure enough, there is a tiny, barely visible scratch filed right into the firing pin. I was supposed to use this to blast my way out, but right at the ultimate life or death moment, it jammed on me. And this exact weapon was personally serviced by Liu Nguyen just 3 days ago. She is the only dedicated weapons technician on our team. Starlight outside reaches all the way down into the valley. I stumble into the recovery room and rip open our team's joint account management system.
The balance says 0.00. The logs show a massive 5 million transfer went out yesterday afternoon.
It went straight to some unknown charity fund. That was my emergency extraction money. Years of risking my neck saved up as my absolute only lifeline in case tomorrow's mission failed.
The door creaks open. Liu Nguyen walks in wearing a crisp white coat, her face just as gentle as always, carrying a smile that practically radiates light.
Hakwang, you are awake? Are you all prepped and ready to go?
Tomorrow's mission has to be a flawless success. She steps closer, reaching out to fix my collar purely out of habit. But I suddenly take a step back, completely dodging her touch.
Her hand just freezes in midair, and that bright smile fades away. I point straight at the computer screen, my voice totally hoarse from the rising anger.
Where is the money? Where is my backup extraction fund? Liu Nguyen pulls her hand back without a single ounce of panic, actually giving me this pure, innocent smile instead.
Hakwang, I was just about to tell you, I actually donated all of it. I gave it to Badat's charity fund. She pulls out a tablet and swipes to a photo of a man in a simple white shirt, looking all elegant and refined. He is surrounded by mountain kids in worn-out clothes, but they are all flashing these incredibly innocent smiles.
The guy is smiling so kindly, like some saint coming down to save humanity. Kai Badat, the volunteer teacher who just popped into our lives a year ago.
Ever since he showed up, Liu Nguyen started worshiping the guy with absolute fanatic devotion.
Hakwang, Mr. K is building a new school for those Highland kids. I went to visit yesterday, and they are so pitiful they do not even have a single pencil.
I am so sick of this life with red on our hands. We desperately need saving. Hearing that, the warmth in my veins seems to just freeze over, inch by inch. That was my extraction money. That was literally my life. I grit my teeth, forcing out every single word. Liu Nguyen just frowns, her eyes completely filled with disappointment. Now watch her reaction here. Hakwang, she says, you are way too selfish. How can one guy like you compare to the future of hundreds of kids? That money is completely filthy.
I am just purifying it, using it for something genuinely meaningful. I am purifying us so we can make up for our past mistakes. Do you not get it?
She steps up, and gently pats my cheek. Do not worry. Tomorrow's mission is going to be perfectly fine. Mr. Kai said, as long as we have light in our hearts, there is absolutely no danger.
When you get back, we will go straight to the mountains to do charity work with Mr. Kai and finally live a clean life. Looking right into her eyes, I can see that crazy, fanatical light burning bright.
For the first time ever, I realize she has completely lost her mind. The grief and pure rage swelling up almost suffocates me, but I cannot afford to break down now.
I take a deep breath and force out a super stiff smile. Fine, you are right. I was being way too narrow-minded about this. Lu Nuyen smiles in satisfaction and turns to leave. I lock the door, immediately grab my encrypted backup phone, and dial a number that has been buried for years. It is me. I need Plan B up and running right now.
That very same night, I slip into the crime syndicate's main headquarters like an absolute ghost. Moving silently, I strictly follow the route map and the passcodes that Li Nuyen originally provided me. I dodge past every single guard patrol and infrared laser system, smoothly making my way right into the central server room. The moment I plug the USB into the data port, the progress bar lights up and the intel starts copying over perfectly. But right as I pull the flash drive out, the entire building suddenly blares with this ear-piercing siren and the central projector screen lights up. The image of Kabadat appears on screen. His eyes are pretty cold, like a venomous snake. "Ha Kwang," he says, "you are 3 minutes later than Yu Yen's plan. She still trusted you way too much." Right after that, the screen starts playing a video clip. Lu Nuyen is there, her clothes totally messed up. Her face is flushed red, eyes completely dazed as she lies on the bed, her red lips parting slightly to spill my entire plan to Kai Badet. My pupils shrink down to pinpricks, and this intense rage of betrayal completely explodes inside me. No wonder they knew my exact escape route the last time I grabbed the evidence. Turns out, Kai Badat is the actual mastermind controlling this entire criminal syndicate from the shadows. And Lu Nuyen leaked the whole operation to catch him. "Find him alive or bring me his dead body," Kai Badat orders. That shout echoes out, followed by frantic footsteps outside, shouting voices, and mechanical grinding as the blast doors start lifting up. No time to hesitate at all. I trigger the microplastic explosives I planted in the air duct, blowing open a quick escape route and throwing myself right into the darkness. Behind me, gunfire roars out, with bullets slamming heavily into my tactical vest with these dull, heavy thuds. This entire Southeast Asian city has basically turned into their personal hunting ground tonight. Every intersection gets blocked off, police sirens wail in the distance and draw closer, while helicopters just keep roaring endlessly overhead. Sprinting through the city's complex layout, I tap the comms in my helmet to send out one last emergency call. "Nuyen, do you copy? Nuyen, the extraction point is compromised, but I secured the target." I repeat, I secured the target, but I got ambushed and completely surrounded, requesting immediate backup right now. My voice comes out completely hoarse from running and losing so much blood. Static crackles over the radio, mixed with the distant sound of little kids singing. Lu Nuyen finally answers, sounding incredibly annoyed. "I am teaching right now," she says. "The teacher is giving a music lesson to the children."
Can you stop bothering us with all that violent nonsense of yours? Right then, a bullet slips through a gap in my armor and buries itself straight into my left shoulder.
This brutal wave of pain hits me, sending me stumbling into a trash can at the alley entrance, as blood quickly soaks my combat suit red. "I am going to die out here. Lu Nuyen, save me!" I hiss out in absolute desperation. There is a brief silence, then Kai Badat's warm, deep voice echoes over the radio. "Mr. Ha," he says, "just listen to the children singing. Now listen to this twisted logic. Look how pure and full of hope they are," he tells me. "Why do you insist on staining their innocence with your death and violence?"
Nuyen only wants to guide you down a brighter path, so you can finally escape from all your own sins.
"Why are you still so stubbornly clinging to that so-called evidence?" He pauses for a second, his voice turning even more gentle and completely manipulative. "Those people in the criminal syndicate are just lost sheep," he claims, "and violence is never going to solve the problem. Only love can truly redeem them.
Lu Yen immediately chimes in, her voice cold and completely unwavering, like she is reading out my death sentence.
Let it go, Hakwang. Just hand over the flash drive and stop resisting.
Teacher Kai already promised he will personally meet those criminals and use love to make them confess. Absolute garbage, I scream out with my dying breath. He is the actual mastermind behind that entire criminal syndicate.
Lu Yen, you are a complete idiot who got brainwashed by him. At that, Lu Yen absolutely explodes.
Enough, Hakwang. I have had enough of this. You only know how to be suspicious and jealous. You just cannot handle seeing Teacher Kai being nobler than you and understanding true salvation. I am absolutely not going to let your toxic negative energy
and your violent mindset affect the children's future ever again. Beep beep. She unilaterally cuts the communication line right there.
I lean back against the freezing cold wall, watching the radio screen go dark, and that final shred of warmth inside my chest completely vanishes. Beautiful. Just beautiful. I chuckle softly. Blood spilling from the corner of my mouth. I pull out the detonator and hit the button for the bomb in the right wing of the building, my original escape plan. A massive explosion echoes from afar, flames shooting up and dyeing the whole sky red, which manages to draw away most of my pursuers. Taking advantage of the sheer chaos, I drag my heavily injured body toward one final sliver of hope. Thank goodness I still have a plan B. 3 days later,
Inside the insanely luxurious banquet hall of the Le Kim Hotel over in Kim Hai City, the Charity Foundation is hosting its annual gala.
tonight's theme is raising funds for the Ong Du Wang Mountain School Project. It is all happening under the banner of Kiba Dat's very own foundation.
Standing right under those dazzling lights, Kai Ba Dat is wearing a perfectly tailored white suit.
This is where it gets crazy. He stands on stage giving this emotional speech about struggling mountain kids and their thirst for knowledge. What this world lacks is not money, he preaches, but love. We must use love to build bridges, to light up hope, and to redeem those lost souls wandering in the dark.
His voice carries this strange magnetic charm, making him look almost like an angel descending to earth.
Down in the front row, Lu Yen sits in an elegant white dress, teary-eyed and totally lost in this worshipful gaze directed at the man on stage. Her face is full of absolute fanaticism. But right at that moment, the heavy doors of the banquet hall get violently shoved open from the outside. A lone figure stumbles right into the room. It is me, wearing my blood-soaked combat gear, thick bandages wrapped tightly around my left shoulder and chest, face pale from blood loss, but my eyes are sharp as knives. The music instantly cuts off, and that grand speech is abruptly interrupted. Every single guest turns around in pure shock. Lu Yen jumps right out of her seat, her face completely pale. Lu Yen trembles and asks him, "What on earth happened to you?" Up on stage, Kai Ba Dat's smile completely freezes over. Not for long, though. In just a single second, he switches right back to that gentle, incredibly fake mask of his. He says it is so incredibly good that Mr. Ha is still breathing. His tone carries this mix of worry and just a little bit of blame. But looking like that, with that harsh metallic scent on you, you are going to absolutely terrify the guests and the little kids here.
I do not say a word back. I just drag my injured leg, step by step, right up to Lu Yen. The whole room's atmosphere practically freezes over.
I tell her I am here for my million. My voice is not loud at all, but it echoes clearly across the dead, silent hall. Liu Yen's face turns bright red, pure fury. She swings hard and slaps me right across the face. Already incredibly weak from losing so much energy, my body immediately collapses, a red mark appearing by my mouth. "Hakwang, how long are you going to stay so blind?" She screams this out, pointing her finger straight at all the fancy, well-dressed guests standing around us. Then she points at the big screen behind Kim Ba Dat, showing the deeply eager eyes of those kids. "Look at this," she says. "Look at how many truly kind people generously gave everything tonight for the kids' future. Why do you always use that dirty, narrow heart of yours to ruin absolutely everything?" That dirty money of yours has already been turned into the very bricks of the school. It became their books. It bought pencils for the kids. Do you want me to tear down the school walls to pay you back? You are terrifying. Your soul is totally swallowed by darkness. Seeing her twist the truth so perfectly, I just let out a laugh.
I stop looking at her. I stumble and push myself up, ignoring the guards trying to stop me, and step right onto the stage.
I pull out the drive I gave my entire life to get, plugging it straight into the laptop connected to the projector.
Instantly, the bright presentation showing those innocent kids right behind Kai-Ba vanishes completely. In its place, a massive, detailed internal ledger from a literal criminal syndicate fills the screen.
Every single illegal smuggling route, all the sketchy weapon trade logs and dark hitman files are displayed there in crystal clear detail. Finally, the scrolling slideshow stops right on one incredibly sharp, absolutely undeniable photograph.
It shows Kai-Ba coldly using a weapon to finish off a tied-up traitor.
The gentle smile on his face is completely gone, leaving only a chilling cruelty that gives you goosebumps. The whole room instantly erupts into chaos. Terrified guests look at the screen, then back at their beloved philanthropist.
Up on stage, his face turns pale, dead pale.
Reporters frantically flash their cameras nonstop, completely shattering Kai-Ba perfect mask. I look at Liu Nuyen, pointing right at that brutal photograph, speaking every word clearly. This is your precious teacher Kai. This is the exact guy you worshipped, using my life and the future of these kids as your perfect little excuse.
Liu Nuyen, you did not just steal my money. You have been actively helping him wash it clean.
Liu Nuyen stares at the projector in pure horror, looking right at that gruesome image. Then she slowly
Turns her head, her confused eyes locking onto the man on stage. That fanatical trust in her eyes is visibly shattering into a million pieces. For the very first time, she finally starts doubting everything. You almost feel bad for her. Was this noble love she believed could change the world actually just a twisted joke from the start? The very last spark in her eyes, it is almost completely gone now. When her faith is on the verge of collapsing, Kai-Ba instantly reacts. He does not even deny the photo. Instead, he steps forward, looking utterly heartbroken, his voice completely choking up.
He says, "Mr. Hung, I know you hate me. You hate that new and trust me so much, but to beat me, to ruin the beautiful hope we worked so hard to build, you actually went and fabricated this awful picture just to frame me?"
He does not even look at the panicking guests. He stares straight down at Liu Nuyen, his deep voice carrying this hypnotic pull. Nuyen, who do you believe? Him? A guy who only knows violence, hatred, and cruelty? Or do you believe in the smiles of those mountain kids, in the bright future you saw with your own eyes?
That hesitation in Liu Nuyen's eyes. 3 seconds. That is all.
Kai-Ba words act like a literal spell, dragging her right back into his carefully constructed world of lies.
She suddenly spins around, spreading her arms like a mother hen to protect Kai-Ba, screaming like an absolute maniac. "Enough, Hakuwong! You are so pathetic. You are just jealous because Teacher Ki is much more noble than you."
Because he can actually bring hope to the kids, you decided to use this filthy trick to frame an innocent man. Saying that, she frantically turns and smashes the fire alarm on the wall. A piercing siren instantly blares across the entire hall, creating a wave of absolute, total chaos.
Guards! Where are the guards? Hurry up and throw him out. He is a complete lunatic. He just wants to destroy the kid's beautiful school. I just stare at her face. You cannot even make this up. Her expression is totally twisted by rage and some bizarre self-righteousness. I can see that fierce fire of pure hatred flaring up in her eyes all over again, aimed right at a destroyer like me. In that exact moment, the final ash in my heart falls away. Cold. Hopeless. I am entirely done with her. Liu Nuyen.
I look at her, my voice eerily calm as I speak. All the files on this drive, I already synced them straight to Interpol and the National Task Force.
Your precious teacher Kai? His entire future ends right here, right now. Just before the security guards and hotel staff can rush in and surround me,
I use the chaos in the hall to slip out the side door,
leaving behind a complete mess in my wake, along with Kai-Ba incredibly dark, absolutely furious glare that looks ready to tear someone apart. My actions were exactly like dropping a massive boulder into a perfectly calm lake, instantly sparking huge waves everywhere.
By the very next day, every major global newspaper is running wildly sensational headlines. Famous philanthropist Kai Ba-dot is heavily suspected of massive money laundering while also secretly leading a massive transnational criminal organization. Interpol and the local police force immediately launch a massive joint investigation. Kai Ba-dot's Sunshine Foundation is now suspected of being heavily involved in laundering and funneling cash to dangerous organizations.
Every single one of his accounts is frozen.
As the news spreads, Liu Nuyen is frantically trying to contact the bank, planning to wire the team's absolute last reserve funds right into a specific account chosen by Kai Ba-dot. She rushes straight to the luxury hotel where he is hiding out. For the very first time, she actually questions him, asking why things turned out this way.
The funds are frozen, she asks. So what about our school? What about the kids' future? Kai Ba-dot completely drops his usual gentle and caring act.
His eyes reveal a deeply sinister look that actually makes Liu Nuyen shiver. He tells Nguyen not to worry, claiming this is all just Hakuen's scheme.
Because he could not have her, he wants to destroy their shared ideals, calling him just far too cruel.
Now she has to help him, he says. Nguyen must help transfer their shared money, the funds meant for the kids' future, into a much safer place.
He hands Liu Nuyen a brand new Swiss bank account number, urging her to hurry and use the team's final reserve funds, moving as much as possible. He claims this is to protect the kids' future. She asks, he still wants more money?
Liu Nuyen stares at the paper showing the strange account number. For the first time ever, she hesitates in front of Kai Ba-dot.
That reserve money is the life-risking compensation fund for their team members, which also serves as their one and only emergency fund. A flash of wild impatience crosses Kai Ba-dot's eyes, but he quickly hides it behind a deeply sorrowful expression. He asks Nguyen if even she has been completely brainwashed by Ha Kuong now.
Has she really forgotten their shared ideals? He asks. He insists money is just a tool, and the kids' future is what truly matters most.
Those exact words strike Liu Nuyen's biggest soft spot, but a tiny seed of doubt has finally been planted.
She makes an excuse about needing time to process things and leaves the hotel. Liu Nuyen doesn't transfer any money. She instead buys the earliest flight to the mountains.
She wants to see with her own eyes the school she poured all her trust and hope for redemption into.
2 days later, Liu Nuyen stands completely alone in a remote valley. There is no bustling construction site.
There are no clear voices of children reading. Just the crooked foundation of a teaching building made from incredibly cheap materials, sitting abandoned among the weeds.
Out on the site, there is only a white-haired old man with cloudy eyes, just sitting there smoking dry tobacco while guarding the gate.
What school? The old man squints at her, slowly blowing out a thin stream of smoke.
He says she must mean that project by boss Kai Ba-dot, noting the guy only visits once a month, brings people to snap some quick photos, and then leaves.
This foundation right here, he explains, was just thrown together by the villagers. It is all completely fake. The pictures are fake. The kids are fake. The school is fake.
Liu Nuyen slumps down right in the middle of the weeds, her mind completely blank.
Her absolute faith, that lofty ideal she used as an excuse to betray her own teammates and the man she loved, completely shatters into pieces in that exact moment.
She never redeemed herself at all. She is just a fool who got played like a toy, a deeply guilty sinner who stepped all over the lives of her comrades.
She screams out in pure despair, dropping to her knees in the grass and crying silently. Like a completely empty shell, she finally heads back to Kim Hai City.
Liu Nuyen storms right into the hotel, where Kai Ba-dot is anxiously waiting for the transfer, her voice shaking with heavy despair.
Where is the school? She demands. Kai Ba-dot, where are the kids? Kai Ba-dot looks at her panicked state, freezing for just a second before finally catching on.
Now watch the mask completely fall off. That fake smile on his face finally vanishes, revealing a deeply sinister and totally disgusted expression.
So you finally figured it out, he mocks, calling Liu Nuyen his perfect saintly captain. He takes slow steps toward her, his eyes now as incredibly cold as ice.
I actually thought you could stay stupid for just a little bit longer, he sneers. He suddenly reaches out, gripping her neck hard and slamming her right into the wall. The school, the kids,
All those things were just a clever bait meant for naive, foolish women exactly like you.
If he did not have her acting as captain to shield him and help clear his name.
Clearing out the cops and rivals in the way. How else could he have easily cut Ha Kwang off from support and taken what he wanted? Kiba.'s eyes are completely filled with violence and deep disgust.
He does not need this wife of his anymore. He reaches back and pulls out a rope he had already prepared.
Tying Lu Nuyen up tight while she struggles weakly, having almost lost all her strength to fight back, before throwing her hard into the room's closet.
He grabs his encrypted phone and dials a familiar number. The bait is fully prepared, he announces to everyone on the line, telling them to get ready to close the net.
I have to make sure Ha Kwang never makes it back at all. He knows Ha Kwang will definitely come to save her, even though she had betrayed him so badly. Meanwhile, deep inside the secret base at the abandoned port, a piercing alarm siren suddenly blares out.
Right on the encrypted communicator screen, a flashing red distress signal pops up, fully accompanied by a set of precise tracking coordinates.
An abandoned chemical plant right in the city. That is exactly where Liu Nuyen triggered the emergency signal.
For our bounty hunter squad, that is the absolute highest alert level, which means someone's life is seriously on the line right now.
Squad member Cern Mio checks the screen and glances at me while I load my final round, my face totally cold. He warns me, Brother Kern, this is clearly a trap.
Kiba.' is just using her as bait. She completely betrayed you, sold out the entire squad, and she is absolutely not worth saving.
I look up, my eyes completely steady. She has to pay, but the one who takes her down has to be me, not Kiba.' Under the heavy cover of night, the remaining members of our bounty hunter squad move exactly like ghosts, silently slipping right
into the abandoned chemical plant. Inside the blazing bright central workshop, Liu Nuyen is tied up tight to a massive pile of explosive barrels, fully gagged, her face completely battered, and just totally filled with pure despair.
Meanwhile, Kiba.' sits completely relaxed on a chair opposite her,
casually spinning a gold-plated pistol right in his hand. Ha Kern, I know you are already here. Kiba.'s voice echoes loudly through the loudspeakers across the massive open space.
Of the workshop. Come out. Stop being a rat. Hiding forever is completely useless. I step right out from the shadows, gripping my assault rifle tight.
Kiba.' stands up và em gun straight at Liu Nuyen said. He demands the secret USB, or else he is turning this entire place into one giant glowing firework. Liu Nuyen looks at me, her eyes completely overflowing with tears and heavy regret.
Suddenly, she uses all her strength, ripping that gag right out, and screams hoarsely, "Do not worry about me."
Kern, he has a secret tunnel in the warehouse and plans to escape by water. Plus, he has 3 snipers hiding out at the 5 and 7 o'clock positions.
Kiba.' roars in absolute fury, swinging his gun butt hard into her forehead.
Shut up, you traitor. Crimson sprays out instantly, completely staining her face as her body goes totally limp and her head just heavily slumps down. Her fate, completely unknown.
The exact moment he strikes, 3 sharp sniper shots ring out almost at the exact same time. The 3 high vantage points instantly explode. That is my sniper Cern Mio, who already took position early and completely wiped out the hidden threat.
The raid officially begins now. Gunshots completely erupt as we dash into the plant like pure lightning, aiming straight for the control room, the exact place holding the self-destruct system and the underground tunnel switch.
Amidst the total chaos, Kiba.'s henchmen keep dropping one by one, causing his entire defensive line to completely collapse.
Seeing things going so incredibly badly, he immediately turns around and makes a mad dash straight toward warehouse number 3.
I chase closely behind him. Just as I reach the control room door, Kiba.' suddenly pops out from the dark, raising his gun and firing straight ahead. The bullet fiercely whistles through the air. I reflexively lean to dodge, but it still hits my shoulder, bringing a bone-piercing pain.
But right in that incredibly intense moment, a figure suddenly rushes over from the side. It is actually Liu Nuyen.
Somehow, she actually managed to break free from her bindings, using her frail back to take that devastating bullet completely in my place.
Thud. The heavy sound of that bullet tearing right through flesh is absolutely chilling. It strikes straight through her back and completely punctures her lung.
Her fragile body instantly goes limp, falling right into my arms as thick, frothy crimson spills from her mouth. Akern, she looks at me, her eyes slowly fading. But the corners of her lips somehow still hold a really relieved smile. I should have trusted you sooner, she whispers. I am trading my life for your escape. Her hand simply goes loose and gently slides down. I look right at her, my eyes an absolute mess of hatred, intense anger, and a sharp stinging pain I do not even want to admit. I gently lay her on the ground, then furiously scream at the rushing medics, "Get her out of here!"
If she does not make it, none of you will.
Meanwhile, I do not look back at all, dashing straight into the control room. Silently, I pray. Hold on, I haven't even forgiven you yet, Liu's Mien.
Inside the control room, Kibadat has already triggered the entire plant's self-destruct program, and the countdown clock is sitting at just 5 minutes.
He just gives me this incredibly cold smile, then quickly turns around, slipping right into the underground tunnel leading directly to the underwater escape route.
With a massive crash, the tunnel's giant steel door completely slams shut, trapping me inside this control room that is absolutely about to blow up.
Ha Kuang, you can just get buried right here. Kibadat's completely insane laughter aggressively echoes back through that heavy steel door.
The countdown hits just 3 minutes, and I desperately fire away, but that steel door refuses to budge.
But just when I am basically hitting pure despair, Liu Nuyen's totally weak, urgent voice suddenly cracks through my radio, followed by some intensely violent coughing.
Akern, please do not give up. She had actually refused all medical help, and I have no idea how, but she crawled all the way to the half-broken terminal in the command room. That spot is the central security control hub for the entire facility.
The main password is your very own birthday.
She coughs up crimson, her fingers fully stained red, yet she keeps frantically typing on that scorched keyboard. I am finally in. Right in front of me, that seemingly completely unbreakable steel door slowly starts lifting up, finally opening up the clear path straight into the underground tunnel. At that exact same time, every single security door inside the factory automatically locks down tight. She basically opened an escape route just for me, while completely sealing off every single exit for Kibadat.
Akun, you need to go right now. Her voice is growing so incredibly weak, basically fading out completely. I blocked his path, trading my own sacrifice just to finally stop him.
Now, I guess we are finally even.
I take one last look at the command room. Flames are already burning bright. Without a second thought, I sprint right into the pitch-black tunnel. Behind me, Liu Nuyen gathers every last ounce of her strength. She slams her hand down on the master detonator.
Boom! A massive shockwave hits, 100 times stronger than the first blast. The entire abandoned chemical plant goes up in smoke. Kibadat's carefully built fortress completely wiped out, along with the woman who gave up everything just to atone for her final sins.
Everything gets instantly swallowed by the roaring fire and the sheer force of the blast. That underground escape pipe, it leads right out to the ocean. I block the only exit. The sheer force of the explosion blasts Kibadat right out into the open. He is completely covered in injuries, one of his legs twisted in a totally unnatural way.
The moment he sees me, his eyes fill with pure terror and absolute hatred. But I do not even give him a chance to speak.
I step up and decisively ruin his remaining 3 limbs. Then I drag him away like a broken stray and throw him right at the feet of the arriving police and Interpol agents.
Kibadat, the boss of a massive transnational syndicate. But with his base wiped out and the USB evidence made public, his entire criminal empire completely collapses overnight.
Everything changes. He gets officially convicted of leading a terror organization, heavy cross-border smuggling, and massive money laundering operations.
Countless severe crimes earn him the ultimate maximum sentence, carried out right after the huge international trial. The very next day, I stand behind a thick one-way mirror. I watch the guy who used to act like an untouchable saint. Now his head is shaved, wearing a standard prison uniform. Heavy iron shackles lock down his arms and legs, his spirit completely broken. The Interpol contact casually turns off his recording device and hands me a fresh cup of coffee.
Mr. Ha, thank you for cooperating.
With that chain of evidence on the USB and your direct testimony, there is absolutely no way he ever bounces back from this.
Every single high-ranking member of his syndicate has been pretty much wiped out, too. I take a slow sip.
My face stays completely blank as I ask when the compensation funds for my fallen team will be released. He lets out a heavy sigh. That is actually why I am here. This whole Ki-Ba case is way too massive. Unfortunately, Liu Yuyan laundered most of that money through fake charity donations, making it completely impossible to recover now.
He pauses for a brief second.
He seems to carefully weigh his next words before slowly continuing. However, about those backup funds.
The $5 million you sent under your own name got frozen by us because she did not move it in time. Once the paperwork clears, every single cent of that gets returned to you.
Just mentioning Liu Yuyan makes the agent's expression turn incredibly complicated. Mr. Ha, I know she ended up betraying you.
But during her very last move,
She honestly provided all the crucial intel and sacrificed herself just to stop the main target from escaping, protecting both you and our own people in the process. I just stare right back at him, my eyes totally ice cold.
So what does that matter?
He breathes out, keeping his voice totally calm to stabilize the situation and explain it for the public. The Sunshine Foundation has massive influence.
Her actual betrayal will simply be classified away into top-secret documents.
The agent looks me right in the eyes. Now pay attention to this twist. Her sacrifice gets publicly praised. They are turning her into a literal hero, a public martyr. My fingers suddenly grip the coffee cup so hard my knuckles turn completely white. A traitor, someone who sold me out and got my teammates wiped out, somehow becomes a celebrated martyr in the end. It is absolutely ridiculous. The agent seems to completely realize the massive resentment building up inside me. He pats my shoulder lightly, speaking softly. Hakern, this is honestly the best outcome for you, for her, and for those who are gone. I say absolutely nothing.
Right at that exact moment, inside the interrogation room, Ki-Ba seems to sense something and suddenly snaps his head up.
His crazy, frantic eyes pierce right through that glass, staring intensely in my direction. He cannot actually see me, but he definitely knows I am standing there.
He suddenly smiles, this twisted, manic grin packed with pure malice. His lips move without making a single sound, just letting me read his mouth. You won. But guess what? You get to live your whole life carrying the heavy burden of that precious martyr's betrayal. I quietly stand up and pull the observation blinds shut, completely blocking out that totally distorted face. Stepping right out of the police station, the harsh sunlight beats down on me, yet I do not feel even a tiny bit of warmth. Liu Yuyan's funeral is held with massive, grand honors, but I skip it entirely. A year later, deep in the mountains, a brand new school with fully modern facilities rises up.
The clear sound of kids reading echoes across the whole valley.
You can probably guess this part. It is named Starlight Elementary. Definitely not Sunshine. I firmly reject all media interviews and outside donations, using that exact recovered $5 million to build the place entirely on my own, right after that. I walk away from the whole bounty hunter life, staying right here to work as a volunteer guard and gym teacher. The kids really like me. They just call me Teacher Ha.
Sunmil visits me once. We stand out on the sports field together, just watching the little kids run around and laugh on the fresh asphalt.
He offers me a smoke and asks, "Have you forgiven her yet?" I quit a while ago, so I just leave it unlit, staring silently at the distant mountains for a really long time. She never needed my forgiveness. I tell him quietly. She merely used her own specific, complicated way to finally secure what she always called the kids' future. The sun finally peaks over those mountains. Golden light spills right across the entire valley, so warm and completely blinding. He whispers that he really granted her biggest wish, but in that bright new future, she just won't be there.
And the old Ha Kuang is gone.
The guy who would gladly risk absolutely everything for her, gone too.